All right, so we'll call the meeting to order for the Hotel Motel Tax Allocation Board for Thursday, January 30th. On the first item to discuss on the agenda is discuss possibly approve the minutes of the September 30th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Hawkins?
You're up.
Oh,
Does she say your last names when she calls you guys?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, just making sure. I don't do it like she does normally. You guys are ready for a vote, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
Okay, did you say yes?
Oh, we did roll call. I didn't do roll call.
That's okay. We're here.
You don't have to.
We don't have to, okay.
Alan?
So we already have a motion and a
I'll abstain
second.
because
for
I
that.
wasn't.
Yeah, we got a motion in a second. Majors?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Dickinson?
Yes.
Okay, so then we have administered oath of office to Ricky Allen, term expiring April 30th, 2025.
This is why Jay's really gone today.
Yeah.
Right.
I also stutter really bad when I have to get in front of people and talk for real. So enjoy all of this. Okay, would you please raise your right hand
Yes.
and repeat after me?
Yes.
I, Ricky Allen,
I, Ricky Allen,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States
See, I'm rubbing off one. And the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma
and the Charter of the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma.
and the Charter of the City of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma,
That I will not knowingly receive,
that I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
of any act or duty pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear or affirm
I further swear or affirm
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as Hotel Motel Board Seat 2 to the best of my ability.
as Hotel Motel Board Seat 2 to the best of my abilities.
There you go. There you go, you are good to go. We'll just sign right there.
Okay.
I'll do my part later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have to have the tattoo by next meeting.
Yeah. An official gang sign later.
Next item is discuss possibly recommend council action to approve a grant application from the Pryor Area Chamber of Commerce for the Okie Homestead Expo in the amount of $3,500.
My name's Cody Buff. This is Laura Bacon. We're with the Chamber. Houston said he submitted everything, and we are here representing on his behalf.
do you know, I'm just curious, is Okie Homestead a 501c3?
I do not.
I'm just curious to know why the chamber applies for this and they don't apply for their own. Just
We can ask that question.
no hidden agenda,
Yeah.
just curious.
Honestly, I'm not aware. I haven't looked into it to see if they are or not, so I can't answer that without going back. And I can get back to you with that.
You might also talk to Houston and have him suggest, because this is the second round of funding I think we've given them, and if we could get, if you come back for more, a report on attendance and where the people are coming from.
Okay, we can do that.
You know, to see, because the bottom line of this is to tourism, to bring people from out of town into town, not to kind of entertain our local people.
Great.
And so it'd be good to have some numbers to look at.
Okay. So we'll after.
I also have a question because I'm not sure. So you said that this is the second round of funding, which in September we approved the same amount. Is this like the same thing, or are we just?
Just submitting a receipt for that.
That's what I was
that we've already
wondering,
approved.
okay. So it's already gone to council, yes?
Yeah.
So, right, that's, yeah,
I just wanna make
that's
sure.
where I'm a little bit stuck as well.
Cause
We
it says
we
recommend
approve it,
council.
and then they get
Yeah,
a
but-
check and bring back
The
that
way
they
the
show
line,
that
the way the line is
Right.
written, it makes it seem as though we have not yet approved this, but
Right.
I recall approving this, and this is just us saying,
Yes.
yes, we're gonna pay it, right?
Correct.
So- Right,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
Because it-
we
yeah.
voted on it last
that's why, yeah,
meeting.
that's what I thought, okay, that's why I was.
yeah, that's what I was thinking through the
Thanks,
wording.
yeah, I was on the same page as you there.
We're learning here, so.
No, that's fine, I just was making sure, I was like,
I think we're working through our issues because the line on the agenda says a grant application, which you already applied and been approved in a
Okay.
previous meeting, so this is just showing
We're just approving.
that you used it the way that we had.
The way it's intended.
so it's a, okay. Should
And
we-
my comments were directed, like, if you come back
Yes,
Okay.
okay,
for another one.
okay.
Not having anything to do with this one, other
Okay.
than just curiosity.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, yeah, they used it for the rental of the fairgrounds, okay. Yeah. No, I am in favor for approving the payment that we had previously approved on this. Again, I just wanted to make sure that we're not approving a separate grant application.
Do we need to change this, Courtney?
Yeah,
I figured you were picking up on what I was saying. So
Yeah,
whatever you
I-
need from me, let me know.
if somebody wants to second it, then I can get it fixed.
Sweet.
I'll
Second.
okay, go ahead.
Cause he said that he wants to approve the payment itself, so that works for my amended motion.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sweet, thank you guys.
Thank you.
I heard it was a good event.
The.
Okie Homestead, yeah.
I did not make
You
it.
didn't get to attend, yeah.
It was.
I heard it was.
Not to put you on the spot or
Before I
anything,
started.
Now that we were done with business, we were just gonna chat.
how was your chicken and sourdough starter?
I was there. If you guys want a little bit of a, like.
Yeah, I would.
I can fill you in.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's okay, I got your back, go back.
The mayor now makes sourdough bread and eats chicken.
Listen, we do buy sourdough bread here every week for Sunday grilled cheese sandwiches. And we buy it locally, a different thing. It's a really good deal. So the Okie Homestead, it is put on by two families out of Salina, that general area. But what they do is they go out and they create areas for vendors. So last year the entire show barn was full of vendors, from local vendors, regional vendors. A lot of them were your local leather makers, jelly makers, cattle feed people that do those things. Not a whole lot of corporate stuff. It was more like a farmer's market on steroids kind of thing. And then what they do is they put on seminars, and they'll bring in, right now, there's a lot of influencers, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, things like that they bring in. One of the big hits that they had last year was the couple that does Bar 7. They're farmers and ranchers. They bring them in, and they do a seminar on, for example, homesteading and artificial insemination with your cattle, or they do how to produce better poultry flocks, how to do these things, and then mix in a few, here's a little bit of a band or some, gospel singers that come in and just kind of give a little entertainment break. But I will say that the event hall for most of that event, so the event center inside, they just had chairs. Every chair was full, standing room only. The hallways were full. These seminars were full. And there was a little bit of a concern from the founders of the Okie Homesteading that, given the pricing that's going on with the fairgrounds, and that's not really for this discussion except for the fact that it's high. It's almost unaffordable anymore. That they were not going to be able to have that event again in Pryor because of the cost of that. And so, by the grace of everything that could be, they were able to work it out. They had gotten an offer from the Oklahoma City State Fair to come out and host that whole thing in Oklahoma City at the invite for no cost. So we would have lost, and I mean probably thousands and thousands of people that went out to that. They did cooking demonstrations outside. They had, all kinds of carny stuff like concessionaries and things. It was a very well attended event. There was zero parking. Grass was full, lot was full. And so to have that back isn't only good for that event and filling the hotels, coming from one who previously worked in the farm industry with retail, those people were shopping, but also the locals were coming back saying, hey, how do we do this? I saw it at that, and now I want to start raising chickens. I want to start beekeeping, the aviary things, all of those. So it is a good tool for that, but it was well attended. So we did run the risk of almost losing this event to Oklahoma City for a bigger venue that was free. So the fact that we can get it there again and they're willing to come, I think that's good, and we need to be very supportive of it.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ready?
I just figured out where the expo center was.
Allen,
Yes.
Majors,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Hawkins.
Oh, yes, I'm
You're
sorry.
okay. You're okay.
Next item is discuss possibly recommend council action regarding amending resolution number 2014-10, resolution statement of intent for the city of Pryor Creek, Oklahoma regarding the use and allocation of hotel motel tax revenues. Guess I'll open this for discussion. I'm not really sure what this was on there for, so if anyone
Yeah,
wants to
what's
discuss
changed?
what.
Do we know?
Do you guys want to do a motion second first for discussion?
Okay, I'll make the motion to discuss. I'll second it.
I'm not sure exactly why it's placed on this today, but I know there's been conversations of amending it in the past.
So we're just making a motion to ask the city council to address this?
So there are some things on here that do need to be addressed. And I'm sorry I don't have my paper copy, so I gotta look like Grandpa Doyle over here. Thanks. When we look at this, there seems to be a possibility of unclarity in what it's allowed for, what it's to be used for, and what its purpose is. Additionally, so my encouragement is we need to look at the verbiage on some of this and make sure that we're allocating out the right way. But I think one of the things that we need to look at, for example, in item B, where item B on the backside, where we have the school allocation. For example, it says at the end of that Pryor Public Schools, inclusive of and as part of the said 20%, a yearly allocation of a minimum $2,500 in support of the annual Pryor Band Day event. That event is done. It's gone. It's not coming back. At least right now, the current band group does not have any intent on ever bringing that back. So we're a little dated in this. This was written in 2014. So my encouragement to you guys would be to look at it, make sure that it's right, make sure that we clarify what exactly the funds can be used for and that you're on board with how you want that to be done. If you want it, I mean, that's what needs to be prepared by you guys and presented to the council. So, you know, we're a decade past this being written. Things have changed. And we need to make sure that if we need to update it, rewrite it with fresh dates, that it looks like it's been revisited. I would encourage a discussion among yourselves, maybe even a little discussion today to kind of go through some of that. But there are things on here that do need to be revisited. I would love to give some input, but I would love for the board to do what the board needs to do without my influence on that. So I'm more than welcome to.
Is there some reason the hotel board would do that instead of the city council doing that whenever?
Well, the hotel multi board
Any
needs.
change we would make would have to be approved by the city council.
They would have to approve it, and they have the
We
right
would
to.
make the suggestion.
Yeah, so you guys would make the suggestions to that, and it would be approved by the council. So, for example, if we can, for discussion's sake, let's look at item D. And this is the 30% of funding with 10% of the 30 being maintained in a reserve for the support and promotion of capital improvements through 100% matching grants to new and existing sports facilities that promote the city of Pryor Creek, with the exception that any one-time special event may be allocated up to a level of the 10% reserve without, we're putting a piece of this aside specifically for updating sporting facilities. It's not happening.
Right.
Is that something we want to continue doing? Is that something, or do we want to reword that so it can be better served, not so much for how it was written in 2014, but how the city of Pryor might use it more effectively for 2025? You see what I'm saying? Our sporting facilities are being taken care of by the booster clubs, the soccer booth, they're doing a great job. The baseball fields, yes, could use some love, but they're also being maintained by some of those groups in cooperation with the city capital expenses and things. So we need to look at how these things are worded. And that's strongly the job of you five. I didn't just recount you, I promise. But I think that's what we need to do. Specifically, I would look at the wording on A through D and make sure, you know, right now the 40% allocation of funding goes to the chamber. Maybe do we need to clarify what that 40% can be used for? Do we want to continue to allow it to be used for this purpose or that purpose, or do we want to say, hey, we want to focus on this? And that's a discussion for you guys. The band one, we talked about the school. The 10% for Main Street, they've got the streetscape project that they're tearing up this year that's going to start. And I know they're dependent on that for that, as well as the facade grants. I know probably what you're going to see, and they're not here, but I know Bridget's watching, and I can confidently speak for her on that. You know, one of the directions they're looking to do with those facade grants this year is designate a specific area, namely that first block of Graham, and target those specific buildings to help the drive-by image look a little bit better, rather than just saying apply for, you may get business here gets 15 for a flower pot. We're going to say, we're going to target that opening image of our downtown, and we're going to work on that. So they're really trying to get some plans in place on how to better utilize that money in today's economy with today's business, the way things are going. So, any questions on that?
I have a question about,
Well-
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're good.
Go ahead, Barbara.
First, I think there's another resolution later than this 2014 one.
This is the most current.
This is the most current that we have.
Yeah.
Most current. Unless you know of something.
I think there may be one somewhere, you know,
See if you can
let
find
me
it.
look at my stuff. And I don't just, you guys might want to just do some research on the computer, just Google around
Right.
and see what some of the other towns and even counties, there are some counties, use the funding for, because it's really pretty narrow. Because you're taking money from hotels, which is a narrow segment, and until recently, it's always been that somehow that money needs to come back. Now, it's not that narrow, but it's very definitely for tourism and like I said, to get people from out of town into town, or to promote in some way that will make people want to come.
So on that note, I don't know if many of you know, our pool task force leadership went, I think it was Monday, they went to Sapulpa to talk to Sapulpa about their aquatic center and about how they do those. And they brought in their whole gambit of leadership, their city manager, their this, da-da-da-da-da. And they found out that, for example, they use their hotel motel money, that lodging tax, goes 100% into parks and recreation. And that's how they funded and fund their things. The idea is that's a revenue source for them. So it's to get people to come in. They've got a pretty nice facility that they're putting up. I'm not leaning to do one thing or another. I'm encouraging collaborative discussion there, but the idea is we want to use that money that comes in from majority of people that don't live here. In fact, if you live in Pryor, you're exempt from that hotel tax. So if you live here and you go stay in a hotel, you don't have to pay that lodging. So that's primarily the transient people coming through our town are supporting this cause. And so I think it is good to kind of put it back into what's going to get people coming into town, whether it's, you know, the bluegrass events that we do, or it's hosting this, what did we call it, the Okie homesteading, whatever it is. I would encourage us that we use that money to go back into those kind of things that continue to help us grow economic development. That's really the end key, is how can we work on that economic development and fund that piece right now. So, you had something?
Well, I was just gonna ask on B, because I know that you had mentioned the schools and there's no band day events. So the school's not really needing this funding, correct? Because they're pretty self-sufficient in terms of anything that's going to bring people into town.
So we know the school is well funded. I won't speak in behalf of the school or for the school, but I know that they do budget that amount every year, and they have specific things. When I've talked to Dr. Miller, and I've also talked previously to Raleigh, thank you, that wasn't the name that was coming to mind, to Raleigh, that they do use that for specific purposes. So that would be something that the Hotel Motel Board would have to consider if you wanted to change
But
that.
originally, that money was put in. I've been with this from day one on it, and it was originally put in when our schools had no money.
Right.
You know, so we thought it would be a good idea to allocate some. Of our schools have money now, so it might be worth talking to them and, you know, letting them know that the city does not get a lot of the other
And that,
funding that comes from other places, and to maybe adjust it a bit, you know.
so again, just keeping in mind, and that's, the idea is keep in mind that this is the decision of this board, right? So this is the task and then when you guys decide what you want to do, that'll go up to council. I just want to encourage that we make sure that what we have is current with our needs now as a community and is up to date and written well enough that there's no misunderstanding of where the funds can and can't be used. Okay? Anything?
The other thing,
Do you want a date for this? Like, is there a time that we can?
Tuesday.
Okay. Let's be right back with ChatGPT.
No, listen, I am a firm believer that if it takes a little more time, then it takes a little more time. I would almost tend to think that if we could make a target of having this done, council approved, signed, and back on the books before the beginning of the next fiscal year, which would be July 1, that would be a realistic time.
and prior to last year, there also was always a public release that went out to let people know that the grant was opening up for the following year.
I would put it in there if that's something that the board really wants. I would.
And that I think that works because it also gets new people who may have ideas to come to us with it. And some of them may be really worthy.
Especially when they know what it's for. You know, like once they understand fully, oh, that I fall into that category. So
Anybody else?
is there a time that we can all meet? Is that something we need to discuss too? Or
And maybe even set up a town hall meeting.
You go for it. I'm sorry, I'm feeling a
I'm
little
sick
facetious,
that
but
day.
but again, that is what this board is for. And so, collaborate, talk, if you wanna make like your next meeting to have that discussion, I think it would be appropriate to make a specific item to discuss your ideas and put together and what to present to the council, so. I don't wanna step on any toes, that's why I'm doing it that way.
I don't think we can have a meeting outside of this forum, right? So it'd be more like, we'd put it on the agenda for the next meeting and people would come back with whatever their idea of changes might be, and then we'd collaborate on that, and then.
And then you would take a vote to take these changes and
Piecemeal.
present them to the council.
Okay. When would be?
Or say no to everything and come back next time. So.
That's an option too, I guess.
Way to be positive, Jason. Jason's gonna be sick that day. So do we need to set a meeting before we shut this?
So we just need I guess I'll make a motion to table this.
Okay. I do need,
Yeah, we need to complete our discussion, right?
You can table it to your next meeting.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's not 2 weeks, it'd be the next meeting, so yeah, that
Right, okay.
That would be your full motion, is to table it till the next meeting.
Okay,
And then, is there anybody that wants to second that?
sure, I will.
Majors,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Hawkins,
Yes,
Ricky,
Yes.
Allen.
That's okay,
Did
yes.
everything backwards.
I'll answer to both.
Okay,
Okay, so we'll adjourn.
Do we need a sitter?
do they do, I don't know anything apparently.
What is the question?
Do they do motions and seconds to adjourn too?
Some do, some don't, just do it and
We had been second.
Cool.
some of the groups do yay nays and some do roll calls. It's really up to you, mister. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, Williams,
Yes.
Dickinson,
Yes.
Hawkins,
yes.
Allen,
Yes.
Majors,
Yes.